Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Fabled Lands. I know, I just finished Bloodsword, might as well get some Fabled Lands in there over the weekend before I put up something new on Monday. In this episode, I think I want to head up to Blessed Springs, pick up some healing potions and other potions, maybe go into the mountains, and then either head across to the Castle of the Knights by way of that town begins with, hang on, Karambaru, yes, I knew it began with C. Or head back down to Yellowport to get up to no good. I've only got space for one potion. I got stealth and intellect already. So yeah, I think healing potion. Only one potion? Probably can't go to the Castle of the Knights just yet then. Yellowport is the second largest city in Saqqara. It is mainly a trading town and is known for its exotic goods from distant Ankon Konu way to the south. The Stinking River brings rich deposits of sulfur from the Lake of the Sea Dragon down to the town, where it is extracted and stored in the large waterfront warehouses run by the Merchants Guild. From here, the mineral is exported all over Harkuna. Unfortunately, all that sulfur has its drawbacks. The stink is abominable, and much of the city has a yellowish hue. The river is so full of sulfur that it is virtually useless as a source of food or of drinking water. However, the demand for sulfur, especially from the sorceress guilds, is great. Politically, much has changed in the past few years. The old and corrupt king of Saqqara, Corin VII, has been deposed and executed in a military coup. General Breve Marlock and the army now control Saqqara. The old council of Yellowport has been indefinitely dissolved, and a Provost Marshal Marlos Marlock, the general's brother, appointed as military governor of the town. To leave Yellowport by sea, buy or sell ships and cargo, go to the harbour master. Well, what we are going to do is depart from Yellowport and head up to Venefax. The villagers welcome you as the one who brought Fours to justice and saved their people from slavery. Venefax is a strange-looking village. It seems like a single gigantic building. All the houses are joined together to form a jumbled mass, and none of the houses have doors. The only way in is through holes in the rooftop. Ladders lead up to the roof, which in effect forms a network of streets that the inhabitants travel across to get to certain buildings. "We had to build it that way for defence," says a passing farmer. "You see, the scorpion men from the south cannot climb, so they can't get inside the town." There is not much for you to buy or sell in this provincial market. Items of no purchase price are not available locally. Well, nothing really to sell and nothing we want to buy. Let's depart and take the road along the coast. You're on the road between Blessed Springs and Venefax. Pilgrims, the sick and injured, travel this route to the holy waters of Blessed Springs to find salvation. You are blessed by a priest, and we gain a safety from storm's blessing. You move on. The village of Blessed Springs, nestling at the foot of a tall hill, has grown up around the holy waters, a special spring said to have healing powers. It has been fenced off by the villagers and a priesthood appointed to supervise the supplicants who come to bathe or drink of the spring's waters. There is no market, but an alchemist has set up shop here. Let's go see the alchemist and purchase a healing potion. It might almost be nice to try and get hold of a second one of those, as we may need 2 or 3 if we're going to face the Black Knight. However, for now... Ooh. Oh! Oh, +1 maximum damage. which would mean that Cleansing Flame, maximum weapon damage, I presume the +1 will be included in that, and the 120 if cursed as well. It's probably worth trying to get a few more skills at some point too. For now, we're going to leave the village of Blessed Springs and head up to the cold, bleak mountain range. The cold, bleak mountains look as inhospitable and forbidding as their name implies. Their frozen flanks climb high into the icy clouds. Let's climb up into the mountains. It is a tough climb upwards, but not impossible, and we have some climbing gear. You clamber up until you come to a mountain track. It rises up between a cleft in the rock ahead of you. A man steps out in front of you. He is clearly a soldier, but his clothes are rough and ready, as if he had been living in the wild for some time. Let's speak to him.
Who is the rightful ruler of Saqqara? General Grieve Marlock or the son of the old king, Nurgan Corrin?
Asked the soldier. Rightful ruler? Obviously Nurgan Corrin. Grieve Marlock is a usurper.
That is fortunate for you, says the soldier.
Several archers stand up from their hiding places behind the rocks overhead. Another soldier, a captain, comes up to you and introduces himself as Captain Vorkung. He is clearly one of the old aristocracy, the nobles loyal to the king and the old regime, before General Marlock and the army seized power and executed the old king. Vorkung tells you to leave the mountains. You have found a rebel base, men still loyal to Nurgan Corrin, the heir of the throne. Nurgan went into hiding when General Marlock killed his father and took control of Saqqara. Let's try to convince Captain Vorkung that we are on his side. This will be a charisma roll. It's basically don't roll a double one. I have this potion of comeliness to get rid of, so I'll do that, which will then make this automatic. But I'm doing it to make space for another healing potion. Captain Vorkung is impressed with your claims of loyalty to the rightful king. He decides you might be useful to their cause, and you are led, blindfolded, through a secret pass to a mountain stockade. King Nurgan gives you an audience in a makeshift throne room. He is a young and handsome man who seems committed to his country. He leads you aside into a private chamber. They really trust me if they're going to leave me alone in a private chamber with him. I have need of one such as you, he says. Yellowport groans under the yoke of Governor Marlowe's Marlock, the brother of General Grieve Marlock. If you can get into the palace at Yellowport and assassinate Marlowe's, I will be eternally grateful. Well, it's filthy work, but someone's got to do it. We shall accept. Very well, says Nurgan and smiles. When you are ready, the king wishes you well, and you are led out of the stockade and back down to the foothills of the cold, bleak mountains. The cold, bleak mountains look as inhospitable and forbidding as their name implies, their frozen flanks climbing high into the icy clouds. We shall leave and go back to the village of Blessed Springs, where we will purchase a second healing potion, although the potion of strength is really, really tempting. You know what, yes, we will take the potion of strength, but I will try to make room for another healing potion. At this point, we still have our moonstone to teleport us to safety once. I would prefer not to have to use it in the pursuit of this quest, so I might need to go and do something else for a little while. Overall, it's going to be tricky to gain a rank at this point. Assassin in Disguise, he says very hard. Yeah, I want to be careful with that then. For Black Dragon Knight, probably not as easy as it makes out. Easy to find, not easy to defeat. But I want to go to Karan Baru. for this quest? Wizardly errands? Oh, okay, yeah, that one. Broken backbone, that's just really hard. Okay, got it. So we'll head into the countryside. If we get lost, we get lost, you know? You're crossing an open expanse of flinty ground. A few herds of sheep roam the hills, not roll the hills. You meet a shepherd who gives you a wolf's pelt. Well, we kind of got one already. We'll let that one slide. We got nothing really. Is that a parchment treasure map? Yeah, we just got lots of valuable stuff. Let's move on. The road is nearly blocked by wagons and supply convoys. A group of soldiers forces its way through the throng. The men bang heads indiscriminately to clear people out of the way. Nothing happens to us though. Our head is not bashed. Karan Baru is a medium-sized town that acts as a way station between the citadel to the north and the rich towns of the south. It is a garrison town. Many supplies, arms and soldiers move through Karan Baru on the north-south trail. Shops, temples, traders and the like have sprung up here to serve the needs of the military. It is also a sizable mining community, for the mines of Saqqara lie in the Bronze Hills just outside town, and a slave market where poor unfortunates sold into slavery are bought for work in the mines. The Karan Baru market consists of several covered arcades. Much of its stock is for miners and soldiers, and it is run with business-like efficiency by the Saqqaran military. Let us visit the inn. The Blue Griffin Tavern is frequented by soldiers and mercenaries. The tavern costs you 1 shard a day. Each day you spend here you can recover 1 stamina point if injured, up to the limit of your normal unwounded stamina score. We will buy a round of drinks at the bar and listen for rumours. You hear an interesting story about one of Baroness Ravain's knights in Golnir. Apparently he's plotting against her.
Intrigue and treachery in the course of the Baroness, mutters a man before his voice fades to a whisper.
There's not much else to hear. There's also not much we can sell, so we need to make use of some of these potions. Let's head out into the Bronze Hills. You're walking through the Bronze Hills. Virtually the whole area has been given over to mining. Everywhere quarries and mine shafts abound. It is a horrible expanse of torn up earth, hardly any areas of green are left. Great heaps of excavated rock leached of their useful minerals mar the landscape. You find a quarry that is open to the public. That is to say, if you pay 50 shards, you can dig for an hour in a silver mine. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'll go to the Castle of the Knights. You're wandering across the wilderness of northwestern Saqqara. There is a magnificent castle nearby with many different pennants flying from its towers. As you draw nearer, you see that the pennants all represent different coloured dragons. The red dragon, black dragon, green dragon, and so on. Outside the gates, a jousting list has been set up, and a few warriors are trying their hand against some knights who have dragon symbols on their shields. A knight in full plate armour rides up and says, "Welcome to the Castle of the Dragon Knights. It is our custom to joust against all who would come here for a wager, of course." He explains that you must bet the weapon and suit of armour that you will use for the joust. If you lose, you forfeit the weapon and armour. If you win, you get the armour and weapon of the knights you defeat. Most of your opponents, you note, would be using a sword and plate armour. I am saving the game here, because we've had a pretty lucky session so far. Well, one rather easy skill check. And if we perish, it would be a shame to end the playthrough here. Let's seek out the Black Dragon Knight. You look for the Black Dragon Knight on a... Sorry, you are looking for the Black Dragon Knight on a quest that was set for you by Yanrit the Sun. You ask the knights if he is here. The Black Dragon Knight? Yes, he is, replies one of them. But he fights only to the death. There is no wager save the greatest of all for him. That is to say, life itself. We now understand why Yanrit the Sun calls him an evil man. For the other knights only fight for trophies. The Black Dragon Knight comes out to meet you. His armour is of black steel, and you think you can see glowing red eyes through the slits in his full-face helm. You must fight. Alright. We shall drink the Potion of Strength. He is too far away to curse. Let's back into the... Oh, no. No, here. Yes, better. We have cursed him. And now we apply the Cleansing Flame and back away. We will not be able to apply the Cleansing Flame for another 6 turns. That's going to be fiddly. Okay. This barrel bars our retreat. We run away. He follows. 100% hit chance. Let's do it. And we drink our healing potion because he hits us hard, and then I believe we slay him. The other knights are amazed by your skill, and they seem quite pleased that the Black Dragon Knight is dead. He was an evil man, says the Green Dragon Knight. You take the Black Dragon shield, we definitely do. As you watch, the rest of your opponent's body dissolves into a foul-smelling smoke, armour and all. You leave the castle. Well... This shield is 15% chance to block. Our magical shield is +2 defense and 20% chance to block. So it is better. We'll head back to the Bronze Hills. And then into Karan Baru itself and to the inn, where we will ask the innkeeper about Yanrit the Sun. You ask the innkeeper about Yanrit the Sun. He looks at you oddly, clearly unsettled by your question. Some say he's the son of a mortal woman and the god Turnai, but he has not been here for some time. Suddenly he stops and stares in amazement at the corner of the tavern. You turn to look, and there, hunched over a stoop of ale, is Yanrit the Sun. He greets you, and we shall give him the Black Dragon Shield. You hand him the Black Dragon Shield. You are indeed worthy, he says. And will you teach me your fighting arts, you ask? You have already learned all that I can teach you, he says. You realize that what he says is true. Your defeat of the Black Dragon Knight has taught you much. You gain 1 combat permanently, raising her combat to something like a 3. Oh, to a 4. Excellent. You look up, but Yanrit the Sun has gone. We shall now depart from the tavern. Except we won't. We're going to stay there overnight and get back a point of health. A point of stamina, rather. At this point, we now have 2 spaces in our inventory. We shall be travelling southwards towards Yellowport. The road is nearly blocked by wagons and supply convoys. A troop of soldiers forces its way through the throng. The men bang heads indiscriminately to clear people out of the way. Nothing happens to us. We'll go down to the Road Tavern. You join the much-travelled road that connects Trefoil and Karan Baru. The traffic mostly consists of convoys of troops and supplies. Eventually you come to the Weary Pilgrim Tavern, a way station between the cities. The tavern costs you 1 shard a day. Each day you spend here you can recover 1 stamina point if injured, up to the limit of your normal unwounded stamina score. We will spend a day here, recovering health, then head down to Yellowport. Do we feel confident enough to attempt the assassination yet? I'm not sure. I'll save. And maybe we'll try. It is ranked as very difficult. You wait several hours to be seen by one of the Provost Marshal's aides, a certain Captain Royser. Let us convince him of our loyalty to Saqqara. 5 shards ain't going to be enough for a bribe, surely. You attempt to convince the captain that it is worth his while to let you see the Provost Marshal, and we're going to drink this large potion of comeliness before we do, because it also frees up pack space. Captain Royser is impressed with your claims of loyalty to Saqqara and decides you could be useful to the Provost Marshal. The Provost Marshal is a rich and powerful man, cunning and capable. "I have need of someone like you," he says. "A group of rebels loyal to the old king are hiding out in the cold bleak mountains. Their leader, Nurgan Corrin, is dangerous to us, as he is heir to the old throne and a rallying point for the rebels. Penetrate their stronghold and slay Nurgan Corrin, and you will be richly rewarded. I can promise you 500 shards and a title if you succeed." Whereas Nurgan Corrin didn't need to try and bribe us with money. We will attempt to slay Marlowe's Marlock. You tell the Provost you have important news, best heard by him alone. He takes you to a side chamber without his guards. You exhale slowly and all of a sudden you leap forward and try to cut him down. We can try combat or magic. Our combat is a 6, our magic a 5. We'll go for combat then. Oh god! Yeah, guess what? That was a not gonna do this anytime soon difficulty. Okay. Understood. And I'm imagining that if we just repeat our steps there, using the potion as before, fairly unnecessary, but worthwhile to get rid of it. If we attempt the magic difficulty check, yeah, equally hard, so basically not going to happen. That's a shame, as succeeding at that is one of our easiest ways of gaining a rank. Let's head to the Gold Dust Tavern and spend the night. Then we shall go down to the harbour and purchase a vessel. I'm actually going to go for a galleon because it's a big, heavy ship that can take a battering and survive most storms. Costs us a mighty 900 shards, and for cargo, if we could get minerals, 350 or 375, we can. Now let us set sail and live dangerously upon the high seas. Your ship is sailing in the coastal waters beside Yellowport. There are a number of other ships, mostly merchantmen, but there are also a few ships of the Saqqaran Imperial Navy. If we run into the Navy, we're in trouble. At least we won't be around played by pirates with the Navy around, says the first mate. In fact, we're not plagued by anything. Let's sail to the west. Vivian Westwood is not over there, but I'm sure she's around somewhere. Your ship is sailing in the coastal waters off the Shadar Tor. You can just see the Tor, a jumbled mass of rocks sitting on the cliff tops as it has done for 1,000 years. There's a storm. Heavy black clouds race towards you across the sky, whipping the waves into a frenzy. The crew mutter among themselves fearfully. If you have the blessing of Alvir and Valmir, which confers safety from storms, you can ignore the storm. We will do exactly that, because while it might be better to save it for another storm in the future, using it now on our very first storm will help buoy our crew's morale and make them trust us more as a captain. I mean, it won't, but it's my justification for doing it. Your ship is sailing in the coastal waters near Marlock City. We have an uneventful voyage and no intention of stopping in Marlock City. Actually, we could recover health there, but no worries. Your ship is... yeah. You notice an unusual number of Sakaran warships patrolling the area.
The pirates are getting bolder and bolder. That's why the Navy's out in force, says the first mate.
Let's head west. A shard for your thoughts, you say to the first mate when you find him gazing dourly out across the waves.
Far to the south, men say, there's a pit that goes right through the world. In its black depths you can see the stars.
You laugh to make light of his mood. Well, what of it? Why so glum?
Don't you know the old saying? Battle not with monsters lest ye become a monster, and if you gaze into the abyss also gazes into you.
He turns away from the rail.
What course, Captain?
We will head west to Golnir. Your ship is sailing in coastal waters close to Wishport, where we intend to land. We have an uneventful journey, and we will head to Wishport. Now, when we buy minerals from Yellowport, we can sell them, apparently, all over the northern continent of Harkuna, of old Harkuna, right? What about down here in Ankon Konu, or over to the east? Because I'm thinking, either the minerals that are in high supply over here are such a rare commodity they'll fetch a really high price to the east or south, or they're so unheard of no one particularly value them or desire them. Now, generally, the further we head from Yellowport, the higher the price the minerals fetch. However, Wishport, just tucked in here past Marlock City, offers a really good price. It's a great markup. Wishport is a picturesque town set at the back of a bay rimmed with white cliffs. Fish, oil, dyes and other commodities are packed here for transport inland. The market is located in a warren of alleys adjacent to the waterfront. Each alley is dedicated to a different commodity. In one you can buy rope, in another lanterns and so on. You hear the echo of hammer on anvil from the weaponsmith's forge just ahead. For now though, we're going to spend a little while in the harbour and sell our minerals for 630. That's a 280 shard markup. If we buy grain from one of these two cities and take it back to Wishport, we can make money that way as well. No, here, you fool. There we go. I should have just clicked on the book down there. Let's go to the inn. You can get lodging here for 1 shard a day. Each day you spend here allows you to recover 1 stamina if injured. Let's do that. And we'll buy drinks all around the bar and listen for rumours. You do not learn much. Just as you're about to give up and finish up your drink, a minstrel standing on a big barrel starts singing. I crept into a ruined castle, then ran away by golly, and how I nearly suffered for my greed and my folly. Something followed me, you see, across the windswept heather, and it would have caught me too, if I hadn't used a feather. You cannot be bothered to listen to any more of this awful doggerel, but it will be useful. We do indeed have no feather. If we can get one, we may wish to go to that darkened castle down there. It is relatively worthwhile. In the marketplace, we could sell our blank parchment. Probably not the wisest idea, as we're planning to use it to make a map. Let's depart from town and head out along the road. You're on a road that stretches across the downs between Haggart's Corner and the coast. We have an uneventful journey and we shall head to Metricians. We are now seeking a second rumour. When we combine those two, we will be able to go back to the Countess and seek a powerful reward. Metricians is a large trading city of broad market plazas and great palaces built by the wealth of the merchant princes. You can buy a townhouse here for 200 shards. The market is one of the largest you have ever seen. It stretches for hundreds of yards through piazzas covered with silk awnings, along the great esplanade overlooking the bay, and through shadowy colonnades, or colonnades even, where fortunes are made and lost in the course of a single conversation. It depends. I think English is colonnade, but like Italian and sort of Mediterranean is more colonnade. I'm not sure, but I'd have to maybe look into that at some point. If we were to go to the harbour, we could buy grain here for 90, and I think we can sell it for 180 in Yellowport, or maybe Marlock City, I can't remember which. But we could fill our ship's hold and head back. So in, we'll buy a round of drinks. A vagabond in ragged clothes tells you he has lately returned to the Fabled Lands, which lie far to the south. Sorry, lately returned from the Fabled Lands, which lie far to the south across the ocean.
"'Is a land of marvels,' he avers. "'There is a hole right through the world there, and men study the stars through it. Another town is built around the feet of a great colossus that holds up the sky. On the east coast of plains where a tribe of gold-skinned men feud with a tribe of who have blue-skins. In the deepest desert, they keep a flotilla of ships, and in the western jungles, I saw clumps of moss crawling like caterpillars."
By comparison, Golnir is quite humdrum. Okay, so we want to explore, and we want to try and get the political intrigue result. You set out in the city to listen for rumours. There is naturally no shortage of such in a teeming city like Metricians, where merchants come and go from all corners of the known world. You hear a tale of a merchant who resolved to do business with the Trow, the eldritch race who dwells in caverns below the world. But the merchant did not foresee that the Trow have no use for human coinage. They bundled him up and took him off to their subterranean lairs. What do they do with him, you ask the man who is telling the story. He's not sure.
Boiled him down to make oil for their lamps, I expect.
Let's go to the inn and stay the night, restoring our stamina to full. Then we will explore the city some more. You get to hear about a spice shipment from Ankon Konu that is due to arrive in port within a few days.
"I got my news from a wizard who's just come from Dwemer," says the merchant who is telling you this.
"How come his ship got here before the one with the spice?"
He gives you a knowing smirk. "I said he's a wizard. He probably flew here on a demon's back."
If you want to invest in the market on the basis of this information, decide how much you're investing. Let's not risk it, because it would affect our ability to buy grain. I mean, not massively. But we're going to continue searching the city more, trade secrets, and keep it up. Ah, there we go. A mason who has been working at Castle Ravane mentions that he is supposed to renovate the private citadel of Sir Bredubar, the Knight of the Long Knife.
"I don't know why he thinks the place needs fortifying," says a mason. "Maybe he knows something I don't. Still, the money's good."
Well, if he's about to gain a lot of enemies, fortifying his personal quarters would make a lot of sense. With that information, we shall depart and head up the main road. The road snakes on between the verdant farmland. To either side you see peasants working in the fields. The barns and thatch-roof cottages present an idyll of peace and contentment. We have an uneventful journey and shall continue along the road. The road to the coast carries a constant traffic of trade goods to and from the hinterland. We have an uneventful journey and shall continue across the countryside towards Castle Ravane. Here, in the peaceful countryside of southwest Golnir, hay carts rumble down leafy lanes and peasants look up from their work with a cheery wave. The dangers that an adventurer must often face are easily forgotten in this idyllic setting. A word that frequently seems to be used in association with Golnir. A storyteller is sitting on a grassy hummock beside a leafy lane, regaling the children from a nearby village of his tall tales. And what will he tell today? The story concerns a hairy old bogle who used to eat anyone who strolled too close to his lair. One day he caught a young maid who begged to be given a day to set her affairs in order. This tickled the bogle's humour so much that he said he'd spare her life if she could tell him what his name was. The maid pretended to go back home to see to her affairs, but in fact she hid near the bogle's lair, and so she overheard him singing to himself, "I'll be making a meal of a plump-built maid who doesn't know my name is Friddle McCade." But of course, when she came back the next day, she was able to name the bogle, and so she lived happily ever after. That seems to be the end of the story. The black turrets of Castle Ravane rise above the rooftops. From the topmost tower flutters the black lion banner of the Ravane clan. This is the stronghold of Varna, Baroness of Ravane. You near the heavy drawbridge. Sentries with huge black halberds block your way across the drawbridge. You try to convince them to let you enter. Use a blessing. What do we got? Scouting, charisma blessing? Sure. The gods sometimes smile upon the worthy. You are given a second chance. Castle Ravane is virtually a city in its own right. The outer courtyard is filled with stables, grain stores, pens for livestock, carpentry yards, and a smithy. Nearby, some knights are keeping fighting fit by charging with lances at a straw-filled dummy. Beyond another line of defences encloses the inner keep. Yes, there's a comma there for a reason. The armoury in Castle Ravane resounds with the clamour of hammers on anvils. The artisans here provide arms and armour for the greatest knights of Golnir. You can buy top quality equipment or sell anything you don't need. We will attempt to enter the inner keep. This is more risky, but easier. The doorway into the castle keep is guarded by elite knights in gleaming gem-studded armour. They watch you narrowly as you approach, and then slowly cross their halberds to bar your path. "What is your business here?" asks one. "The guards are not convinced you are important enough to be admitted to the keep." "Has the Baroness summoned you?" they demand to know. "She is very busy." We can attempt to make a charisma roll with no potions, and we succeed. The guards, not cards, are convinced by your persuasive tongue. One of them gestures with his thumb, saying, "Go on in then, before I change my mind." The inner keep of the castle is a mighty fortress with walls several meters thick. Narrow windows admit golden shafts of sunlight into the gloomy hallway. Let us request an audience with the Baroness. Sir Debromas, the seneschal, takes you into the Baroness's court. She sits in regal splendour on the gilded seat of House Ravane. A gonfalon showing the black lion crest hangs on the wall behind her. Although young and slender, she has the fierce, unflinching gaze of one who was born to rule. "Why have you come?" she asks. "Well, in pursuit of a quest." "You wish to serve this noble household?" replies Baroness Varna. "In what capacity?" "Well, we have come to denounce a traitor." "You have no clue which of..." "Yes, I have. I've got both the clues. I've literally got both the clues. Why aren't you letting me do this game? That's very, very weird. Okay, no, we'll go get more clues. Fine. I've got the 2 clues that are required, so I don't know what I'm missing there. I think, given the lateness of the hour and the fact that I had to start recording late, I'm actually going to end the episode here. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed this one. We've made some small progress, as we have gained in combat prowess and completed a quest or 2. And also picked up an incredibly challenging one. Difficulty 14 dice checks? Wow. So, with that in mind, I hope you've all enjoyed this one, and I will look forward to seeing you all in the very next episode. I'll say goodbye for now, and see you all next time. Cheerio, everyone.